Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I believe that whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. Anyhow, since it's Halloween, I'm gonna mix things up a little bit and go through some of my favorite movies for October. Now, most of these I could watch all year round, but there are certain ones that I try to save for October or Halloween. So, first off, Army of Darkness. Quite possibly my favorite movie of all time. I love the whole Evil Dead series, but this one is definitely my favorite. Much like the first Evil Dead movie, or the second one, excuse me, it's more of like a goofy horror movie, and there's so much... It's like one of those movies that looks like it's very cheaply made. I point out there's a lot of flaws and stuff, but that's just something I love about the movie. And a funny thing is, the original ending, which, well, what happened was, in the original ending, which is in the director's cut, the thing is, it's done a little bit differently. Ash, he has to take like this potion with a dropper in it, and he has to swallow 6 drops because each one represents 100 years. And what happens is he swallows an extra one by accident. He swallows 7 drops instead of 6, so he sleeps for an extra 100 years. And when he wakes up, it's the apocalypse. And he's like, "Oh no, I slept too long," and they made them change it because they're like, no, it has to be a happy ending. But I like the original ending better for a number of reasons, but mainly because it's just so fitting. Because Ash is one of those people that just, he can't win. Like in Evil Dead 2, when his reflection attacks him from the mirror, and then in Army of Darkness, he sees the mirror and he's like, oh no, not again. And he smashes the mirror so his reflection doesn't attack him again. But instead what happens is little versions of himself come out of the shards and attack him. So you see what I'm saying? He can't win. Anyway, the next movie is Psycho. The original Alfred Hitchcock movie. This is such a classic. I did like the remake, to be honest, like the one that came out in the 90s. But partially because it's literally the same movie, like word for word. It's just that it's in color and different actors. But that's the thing. You see, Vince Vaughn, he did a pretty good portrayal of Norman Bates, but you just can't beat Anthony Perkins' performance. He really sells that character. Next we have The Mummy, which is also a remake. I like the original too, but I'm a little neutral with depends on, yeah. I love this movie. And I remember when my stepfather first rented it when it came out. And my brother and I all watched it together, and it's funny because those of you who have seen the movie, you know how Benny keeps screwing over O'Connell throughout the movie, and then at the end when he becomes trapped in the tomb, and then all the scarabs start swarming in, thousands of them start swarming in. I remember my stepfather was like, "Well, Benny," so every time I watch the movie and that scene, I always think of that. Now, this one isn't necessarily a horror movie, but whatever. Spawn. God, I was really excited when this came out back in the day. It was, I think, 97? It was when I was in 5th grade. Because I used to have a bunch of the toys when I was a kid, too. The Spawn toys. The thing with this movie, a lot of the CGI, well, actually, pretty much all the CGI is very dated, but it's still a great movie. And to be honest, I don't know, the remake looks pretty good to me. I'm not a big fan of remakes. It depends on what it is. Like some of the horror... Yeah, but this remake for this, I'm like, I'll give it a chance. I can never remember how you pronounce his name. John Leguizamo, I think it is. Him as the clown in this is friggin' hilarious. Then, of course, we have Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. I mean, yeah, well, I did them backwards, but whatever. Yeah, to be honest, I don't have all the Friday the 13th movies because... Well, Jason's cool and all, but I'm more of a Freddy Krueger guy myself. And the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, I think my favorites are, aside from the first one, of course, which is probably considered to be the best and the scariest, but my favorites, aside from the first one, are probably 3, 4, and 6. And one thing I always love to do every October is I watch a couple of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, a couple of Friday the 13th movies, and then I watch Freddy vs. Jason. Now, I loved this movie. My only real complaint is that Freddy doesn't get enough kills. He technically only kills one person, but whatever. But the fights were awesome, because there's technically two of them. The one in the real world, and then the one in Jason's dream, which I love the part in Jason's dream when Freddy crushes Jason with the huge vat thing, and then Jason's still, like, stirring around and stuff. Freddy's like, why won't you die? Next, we're going to look at more of a... Well, I guess you could call this a kid's movie, even though it's... Well, hey, you're never too old for cartoons. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. God, I was... Again, I was probably in 5th grade when this came out, and I remember I rented it back... I actually rented it a couple of times over the years, and then I finally bought it, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah, out of, like, these late 90s, early 2000s Scooby-Doo animated movies, this one was always my favorite. When they go to the island, there's zombies among... Yeah. And then, of course, we have... the Chucky movies. Now, my favorites are the first two Child's Play movies, Bride of Chucky and Curse of Chucky. Cult of Chucky I don't own yet because I wasn't too crazy about it, but, you know, it's something I'll wait till it's, like, cheaper or something, but, yeah, I love the Chucky movies. Him and Freddy are my favorite horror movie icons because they're more, like, it's like they're more funny than they are scary. Like, they're not really, I mean, maybe some of them, they can be kind of creepy certain parts, but, I don't know, it's just, I love, like, the puns, and the Chucky's laugh is so iconic. Like, one of my favorite Chucky moments of all time is in the second movie when he like he smashes it in the face of the other good guy doll, and then he's like starts burying him, and he's like, eat dirt, Tommy. It's, hilarious. Yeah. I guess they're remaking Child's Play, which I don't know. See, the thing about him and Freddy, it's like, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, Brad Dourif is Chucky, and Freddy, Robert Englund is Freddy. So it's just like, I don't know. They just really sell it. I mean, I gave the Nightmare on Elm Street remake a chance, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it. So, I mean, it's not like anybody else, like, you know, Jason or Michael Myers, where they just have a mask and they don't talk. You know, Chucky and Freddy, they not only do they talk, but they're, well, like I said. Next we have It. I don't know if you would call this technically, well, both the It movies, because, you know, this one's like a TV miniseries, and then this was, I don't know if you would necessarily call this a remake, since it's, you know, based off of a book, but I actually really like this. Well, let's just say it is a remake, technically. It is and it isn't, but I actually really did like this, or actually I love this one. The thing with the TV miniseries, I do still like it, but it's one of those movies that, like a lot of people, when I was a kid, I was probably about 4 or 5, I saw the sewer drain scene, and it scared the shit out of me. I had a fear of clowns for at least a year or two. Surprisingly, it fizzled out. Yeah, but anyway, the thing is, like I said, it scared me as a kid, well, a little kid, and then during, like, I think when I was in junior high, I went back and rewatched it, and I'm like, you know, this is more funny than it is scary. And that's the thing. That's what this one is. I feel like this one is like, when I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, well, this actually looks really good. And it looks legit terrifying, which it was. Like, I thought it was a lot scarier. And a lot of people didn't really like the redesign of Pennywise. I thought it was awesome. Like, I think he looks even more terrifying than the Tim Curry one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Tim Curry, but this newer one was definitely way more terrifying. And it's much more darker, I feel like, too, because I guess it's supposed to be more accurate with the book. Gotta be honest, I never read the book, but, yeah, I loved the fight at the end when they all team up to fight him. That was awesome. I think my brother said that. It was like, that was like the best part, and I was like, oh, I know, right? Because we were talking about it like a couple of weeks ago. I'm looking forward to the next one, the sequel. Next we got a couple of zombie movies. Day of the Dead. Well, and Land of the Dead and the Dawn of the Dead remake, they came together. The George Romero movies, zombie movies, basically it's Night of the Living Dead is when it's all starting, like the zombies are first coming to be and stuff. The cat's over there, I hope he doesn't knock over the camera. Anyhow, good boy. So, yeah, then Dawn of the Dead, the original, was when the zombies are starting to take over and overrun us. Then Day of the Dead, which is my personal favorite, is when they've completely overrun us, they completely outnumber us. And then Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and there was one other one, but I forget the name of it. It's the same as Day of the Dead. It's like the zombies have already overrun us. It's just what's going on elsewhere in the world. Yeah, I love all the George Romero zombie movies, and like I said, Day of the Dead is definitely my favorite. As for the Dawn of the Dead remake, I do like it. It's a nice take on it. My only thing is, I'm not a huge fan of fast zombies, like, zombies that run. I mean, it's a cool idea. It makes it more terrifying, but I feel like it's a little unnecessary, because some people might say they're like, oh, it's zombies that are that limp or just walk. It's not really that scary, but the thing is, to me, zombies don't need to be fast if they have you outnumbered, which is the case in this situation, because if you're alone at night and you see, like, you're walking down the street and you see a whole bunch of them over there, and so you turn around and go that way, there's 20 more behind you, then you go down an alley, there's 10 more down there, like, you see what I'm saying? And if they have, let's say there's hundreds of them surrounding you, like, in, like, almost like a mosh pit, if you will, if you have a gun or two, you're gonna run out of ammo. If you have some kind of blunt instrument or a sword or whatever, you're gonna wear yourself out trying to fight them off. So either way, you're screwed. That's why, to me, that's why zombies don't need to be fast. But that's just my opinion. And of course, there's the Addams Family movies. I like both of them, but I think I'm more a fan of the first one. Yeah. And there was also another one that was called, but it was like Addams Family Reunion, which came out in the late 90s. I think I rented it. It's really not that good. Probably because it's all different actors. Yeah. But that's a classic. Next we have the Critters movies. I think the second one probably has to be my favorite, and probably because I had first discovered that in, God, it was probably like 6 or 7, which means my brother and his friend Matt, who were probably about 12 or 13. We were gonna go apple picking. A whole bunch of us were going to go apple picking. We had like 10 minutes to kill, so the 3 of us were hanging out in the living room, and we just like came across this and we were watching it. And that was like how I first discovered it, like, and stuff. And we watched about, I don't know, a little bit of it, and like we were like, oh, this movie's hilarious and stuff. And I remember, because if you've seen the movies, you know how the critters like turn into balls and they roll. So I remember that whole, like, when we went apple picking that day, the whole day we were going like, here comes another critter, and we kept throwing apples at each other. Good times. Now we're gonna mix things up a little bit. It's the Simpsons Treehouse Horror. Well, this is more of a TV series, so. And again, I watch these all year round, but I love watching them out in October, especially like binge watching a bunch of them. One thing that I don't understand is why they never made a whole bunch of them on a DVD. Because see, this one, it's only 4 of them. It's 5, 6, 7, and 12. Which, like, okay, well, why not do like 1 through 10 or 1 through 15? Fifth one is definitely my favorite. That one's gold. I mean, just the shitting alone, that is fucking priceless. But yeah, I wish they would do more of these on a DVD. I mean, granted, you could just watch them all on Netflix or something, but then you have to like go through all the seasons and stuff, so it's like, it would be better if they just had them all in one set. Or even if it was just like the first 10 or 15, like I said. Those are actually going to be on tonight, too. Well, the day that I publish this on FXX, they're going to have all of them on there like a marathon. Anyway, next we have Beetlejuice. Oh my god. Beetlejuice, which was this is another classic. Tim Burton just, Tim Burton is just, excuse me, Michael Keaton is just such a great character. I know it's Michael Keaton, but he just portrays that character so well that I know it's him, but it's like, oh, I just can't tell that that's him. Like, I love this. But they're making a sequel too. Because that was happening quite a few years ago. Michael Keaton said how much he loved playing Beetlejuice. It was like his favorite role of all time and stuff, and he'd love to do it again. So it's finally happening. Like they said, like, oh, maybe we'll make a sequel. So it's coming eventually. Then we have Cabin in the Woods. I saw this in theaters with my sister, her husband, and a friend of ours. It's a great movie. I don't want to give too much away, but it's like a group of kids, college kids, go to like a secluded cabin in the woods, and then there's like these people watching them, and then they like summon these zombies to come and kill them. That's just kind of the abridged version. There's more to it than that. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it, but it's a great movie. Then, of course, there's the Alien movies. My favorite has to be the second one, Aliens. That I love that movie. It's so good. And I remember the Kenner toys from like the 90s where they just made ones, pretty much made up random ones like based off of animals and stuff. I had a ton of them when I was a kid. A ton of them. My favorites were the mantis and the boar. And the mantis one was really just the gorilla, but they changed his arms and his head and painted him differently. And then the boar one was really cool because you'd pull his head forward and spikes would come out. That was really cool. Then, of course, the Saw movies. A funny thing, believe it or not, the first one was actually like a student film project. It was like a couple of college kids made it for a film festival, and then they, where was I? Then they like gave it to New Line Cinemas, or no, not New Line Cinemas. Well, I forget the name of the company. Whatever. They gave it to them, Lionsgate. Excuse me. You know, and they said like, "Oh my God, we're putting this out in theaters and stuff," and so it was a huge hit. Originally, it was only going to be the first movie. Then they were just going to do 3, and then they finally just did 7, which, like, okay. And even though they made another one, like, last year or whatever, but whatever. I think my favorites had to be 1, 4, 6, and 7, which is kind of strange. And I actually saw 5, 6, and 7 in theaters with friends, so that was cool. Now, the last 3 are a couple of hidden gems, if you will. First, we have The Final. Basically, I remember seeing this on the Sci-Fi channel. It's a group of, like, kids that are kind of like the outcasts, and they're tormented by the more popular kids. So, the outcasts, what they do is they send out, the leader of the outcasts, he sends out, like, these phony invites to all the popular kids to, because he basically just got, he just inherited, like, an old house from his uncle, who just passed away, so he, like I said, they send out all these invitations to the popular kids to, like, a costume party, and then they drug them. You know, they drug the popular kids, and they have them all, like, chained down to the floor and stuff, and then they have, like, a chair set up in the front, and then they take, like, one at a time, like, alright, your turn, they put them up into the chair, and then they start torturing them, while the others all have to watch it. You know, it's, like, basically a story of revenge, and, like, you know, teaching boys that, yeah. But it's a great movie. I love that movie. Next we have Laid to Rest, which, I can't remember. I remember I rented this on the Redbox, but I can't remember if it was if I rented it on a whim or if my brother had told me about it, but it's such a great movie, and it feels very underrated. There's this guy, which actually there's a picture of him right there, if you can see it. Right up the top there. His name is Chrome Skull, because he wears like a Chrome Skull mask, and he has a camera on his shoulder, and then he has like these serrated blade type of things and knives. And he's pretty much like a modern day Jack the Ripper, so to speak. A lot of the kills in the movie are sick. It's just like, damn! Like there's a part when he throws one of his knives at somebody, like it sticks in their cheek, and then he like starts like sawing it, pulling it upwards, so he cuts like half of their face off. It's awesome. And finally, we have Battle of the Damned. This is definitely a B movie. I feel like it might be an indie movie as well, but I'm not positive. It's with, what the hell's his name? Dolph Lundgren. And he's like in a city which has been overrun by zombies, and they're planning on firebombing the city, so he has to try and escort this group of survivors out, and then they find these robots, which, like, help them fight and stuff. It's, like I said, it's definitely a B movie. It's not a great movie. It's okay, but I kind of like it. It's not, like I said, it's definitely a B movie. It has its moments, so. Now, there's definitely more movies, but these are just some of the ones that I'm pretty much familiar with, so. What are some of your favorite zombie horror movies? Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.